Have you ever wondered what secrets lie buried beneath the pages of history books? While we often learn about the victories of war, the rise of civilizations, and the progress of humankind, some truths are hidden, manipulated, or entirely erased. These aren't your ordinary mysteries or urban legends. These are the darkest, most shocking secrets in world history that reveal a side of humanity many would rather forget. In this video, we are going to uncover 10 of the most disturbing and secretive events that have been buried in the shadows for decades, if not centuries. Prepare to be intrigued and perhaps even unsettled as we delve into the hidden truths that shaped our world. 1. Unit 731. Japan's gruesome human experimentation. Let's begin with one of the most horrifying and lesser-known war crimes in history. Unit 731. During World War II, the Japanese Imperial Army operated a covert biological and chemical warfare research unit in Manchukuo, now modern-day northeast China. Led by General Shiro Ishii, Unit 731 conducted inhumane experiments on living prisoners, including Chinese civilians, Russian soldiers, and even some Allied POWs. Victims were subjected to live dissections without anesthesia, exposure to extreme temperatures, and intentional infection with deadly diseases like anthrax and plague. What makes this even darker is that after the war, many of the scientists involved were granted immunity by the United States in exchange for their research data. Instead of being punished, they lived free lives, and much of the world only learned about Unit 731 decades later. 2. The Vatican's Secret Archives. Now let's talk about the Vatican's secret archives. While the Catholic Church is known for its transparency in many areas, the Vatican Apostolic Archive remains one of the most mysterious institutions in the world. The archive holds centuries of confidential documents, including letters from Michelangelo, papal correspondences, and evidence related to the Inquisition. But what many don't know is that it may also contain evidence of cover-ups involving political alliances, wartime decisions, and even documents related to extraterrestrial life. The archive is off-limits to most researchers and journalists, which has only fueled speculation. Despite multiple calls for full transparency, access remains tightly restricted, with only a handful of scholars allowed inside each year under strict supervision. 3. Project MK Ultra. In the 1960s and 70s, the United States government ran a top-secret project known as MK Ultra. The CIA conducted experiments on mind control using LSD and other psychotropic drugs. The aim? To develop techniques that could be used for interrogation and psychological manipulation during the Cold War. Many of the test subjects were unaware they were part of the project, including prison inmates, psychiatric patients, and even ordinary citizens. Some were permanently damaged, with lives destroyed as a result. When the program was exposed in the 1970s, it caused public outrage. But to this day, many believe we still don't know the full extent of MK Ultra's operations, especially since many documents were deliberately destroyed before they could be reviewed. 4. The Tulsa Race Massacre. Have you heard of the Tulsa Race Massacre? In 1921, a prosperous black neighborhood in Tulsa, Oklahoma, known as Black Wall Street, was attacked by a white mob. Over the course of 2 days, homes and businesses were looted and burned to the ground. Estimates suggest that as many as 300 African Americans were killed, and thousands were left homeless. Yet for decades, this atrocity was left out of history books and barely mentioned in mainstream education. It was a deliberate act of erasure, a cover-up that robbed generations of knowledge about one of the worst acts of racial violence in American history. Only in recent years has it begun to receive the national attention it deserves. 5. CIA-backed coups around the world. Another unsettling revelation in history revolves around the CIA's involvement in global coups. Declassified documents have confirmed the CIA played key roles in overthrowing governments around the world, especially during the Cold War. This includes the 1953 coup in Iran that deposed Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh, who had nationalized the oil industry, threatening Western interests. The CIA's intervention restored the Shah to power, leading to decades of dictatorship. Similarly, in Chile, the CIA helped orchestrate the 1973 coup that removed President Salvador Allende, replacing him with the military regime of Augusto Pinochet. These actions were kept secret from the public for years and have had long-lasting consequences for millions. 6. The Dancing Plague of 1518. Let's shift to Europe for a moment. Have you heard about the mystery of the Dancing Plague of 1518? In July of that year, residents of Strasbourg, then part of the Holy Roman Empire, were struck by an uncontrollable urge to dance. Dozens, and eventually hundreds, danced for days without rest. Some reportedly danced until they collapsed and died from exhaustion or heart failure. While it might sound like a bizarre urban myth, it was documented by physicians and city authorities at the time. To this day, the cause remains uncertain. Theories range from mass hysteria, ergot poisoning from moldy bread, or even religious fervor. Whatever the cause, it remains one of the strangest and eeriest unexplained events in recorded history. 7. Belgian atrocities in the Congo. One of the darkest secrets of colonialism is the Belgian atrocities in the Congo Free State. Under the rule of King Leopold II of Belgium, millions of Congolese were enslaved, tortured, and killed between 1885 and 1908. The region was exploited for its rubber and ivory, and brutal quotas were enforced. Villages that failed to meet quotas were burned, and inhabitants had their hands cut off as punishment. It's estimated that between 10 to 15 million people died during this period. What's shocking is how long it took for the international community to acknowledge these crimes. For years, Leopold was praised as a humanitarian, until activists like Edie Morel and Roger Casement exposed the atrocities. Yet even today, this horrific chapter is often glossed over in Western history books. 8. Able Archer. 83. Near Nuclear Apocalypse. Next is the secret meeting that almost started World War III. In 1983, NATO carried out a military exercise called Able Archer 83, simulating a nuclear war scenario. But the Soviet Union believed it might be a cover for a real nuclear attack. In response, the Soviets placed their nuclear forces on high alert. The world came dangerously close to nuclear war, all without the public knowing. It wasn't until years later that declassified documents revealed how close we had come to annihilation. If not for a few calm heads within the Soviet ranks, we might not be here today to talk about it. 9. The Great Chinese Famine. Let's talk about the Great Chinese Famine, a catastrophe that claimed the lives of an estimated 15 to 45 million people between 1959 and 1961. It was caused not by natural disaster, but by a combination of misguided policies under Mao Zedong's Great Leap Forward, poor agricultural planning, and suppression of dissent. Farmers were forced into communal work, traditional farming methods were abandoned, and grain quotas were unrealistically high. To make matters worse, local officials exaggerated production numbers to please the central government, leading to mass starvation. For years, the full scale of the famine was denied or downplayed by the Chinese government. Only recently have researchers been able to piece together the devastating truth. 10. The Tuskegee Syphilis Study. Finally, we come to the darkest legacy of medical racism, the Tuskegee Syphilis Study. From 1932 to 1972, the U.S. Public Health Service conducted a study on black men in Alabama to observe the progression of untreated syphilis. The participants were not told they had the disease. Even when penicillin became the standard treatment in the 1940s, it was deliberately withheld. The researchers wanted to observe the full course of the illness. Hundreds of men suffered, and many died, all while believing they were receiving proper medical care. The study was only exposed in 1972, sparking national outrage and leading to changes in research ethics. But the damage had already been done, creating deep mistrust in the healthcare system among African American communities. These are just 10 of the many disturbing secrets that history tried to bury. They remind us that the past is not always as clean and noble as we are taught. Beneath the surface lie stories of greed, cruelty, and manipulation. But uncovering these truths is essential if we are to learn from them. History is not just about celebrating victories, it's also about acknowledging the mistakes, the horrors, and the human cost of progress. If you found this video fascinating, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next dive into the secrets of our past. And check out our other videos to discover more truths that history tried to hide.